A Fox News alert, the president of ABC has now announced that Whoopie Goldberg has been suspended for 2 weeks from The View. Lara Trump is sticking with us on this particular issue. Let's get your initial reaction. I know Whoopi. I'll go to my points in a second. I want to get your initial reaction, Lara.
Well, I heard you at the top of the show, Sean, say that you didn't believe that, she should be suspended. And we know what the calls would be if the shoe were on the other foot. If it was somebody on Fox News, for example, who had said something like this, every media outlet out there, every Democrat out there would be calling for their suspension. But you know what? I think you were very kind to say that. It is nice to see that people are taking this seriously because, look, Whoopi Goldberg is a very influential person. She reaches millions of people every single day. What she said was flat out wrong. It sounded, maybe she didn't intend it to sound this way, very anti-Semitic and very hateful. And so although she came out and corrected herself and apologized, I think it's nice for once to see that perhaps a step has been taken by an outlet that we know otherwise kind of lets people get away with these things if they agree with them politically. So interesting to see this outcome. And quite frankly, I'm happy to see them taking some sort of action.
And let's get your take. Joe Concha back with us. This breaking news. ABC, if you missed it, just suspended Whoopi Goldberg over her comments on the Holocaust. Look, I've done this my whole career, Joe, and people have pressured me, and some people get angry with me. Hannity, that they would do that to any conservative. Why do you not support boycotts? Why do you never call for cancellation or firing? I said, well, I think her apology is sincere. I think she's learned a lot in the process. If 2 weeks off is the penalty, it's better than being canceled. And I have just a reflexive reaction to cancel because I don't like what somebody says. Because you don't have to watch The View. I hate to tell you, I don't watch The View. Reaction.
I'm not surprised you don't watch The View. Look, you've been very consistent on this, Sean. The transcripts show it, that you never call for anybody to be canceled, that in the past you've always said that people deserve second chances. I think that this is a good compromise in terms of what you're calling for and what others are calling for in terms of Whoopi Goldberg being outright fired, right? Because a suspension, at least there's accountability for her words that offended so many people. I mean, the backlash on this has been incredible. It should be noted that Whoopi Goldberg, she re-signed with ABC just a few months ago, 4-year deal, goes into 7 figures. So there's a business aspect to this in terms of not firing her. But staffers were particularly upset about those comments. They felt they were bad enough. And then her explanation on Colbert last night made things even worse. So, look, it should be underscored. The one quote that she had that I think really ticked people off is, "This is white people doing it to white people." So this is you all go fight amongst yourselves. I mean, on a program where some truly craptastic things are said, this actually stands out. And Whoopi said this isn't about race. I mean, well, this was Hitler's entire insidious argument, right? Germanic people are superior, Jews are an inferior race, therefore justified genocide, 6 million people systematically murdered. So ABC, I think, makes the right move here. Suspend her for 2 weeks, show people that you care, that words do have consequences. Whoopi comes back, and maybe she is better for it. And should be noted, by the way, also, Sean, that The View in 25 years and having dozens upon dozens of hosts have had exactly 2 Jewish co-hosts and not 1 in 6 years. Just saying.
I look at this whole controversy, though, and then you can bring Joe Rogan back into it, Lara. And in the case of Joe Rogan, I don't think he should have apologized. Joe Rogan made a decision with his doctor on how to treat COVID-19 when he contracted the virus. Okay, he threw everything they had at it. Monoclonals, HCQ, ivermectin, that was him, between him and his doctor. He gets the crap beat out of him. Then he interviews the guy that was pivotal in creating the mRNA technology that led to the Pfizer Moderna vaccines that every liberal loves, but he would use it. It would be more restrictive in its use for older people, people with comorbidities, obesity, et cetera. Okay, that's one doctor's opinion. and people want to shut him down, call it disinformation. Has there anybody that has given more false information than Fauci, than Biden, than Jen Psaki, than Walensky, than the CDC, than the NIH? Because they're the biggest misinformers in this entire pandemic.
Well, and that's why no one trusts them at this point. You know, it used to be in America that people came to the table. There was a place for public discourse where you could share ideas and you didn't have to always agree with someone's idea, but or their thought or their opinion about things, but at least you got to hear that. And perhaps it got you to think a little bit. And you know what? I agree with you. I don't think Joe Rogan should have apologized at all. I don't know that he did anything wrong. And to your point, this was a doctor on there, a guy that was very pivotal in developing these vaccines and has a lot of knowledge of this subject. So if you're putting a lot of weight in someone like Dr. Fauci, who has proven himself time and time and time again to be wrong about just about everything, why can't Joe Rogan have someone on his show and just let this guy share his opinion? There should be no reason we have to have disclaimers. My gosh, there's disclaimers on everything in life now, so much so that no one even pays attention to them anymore. It's absolutely pointless. But it would be nice if we could get back to a place where everyone could equally share their opinion, no matter their political views, no matter what you think or you don't know what their political view is. That's what America is all about.
Let's go back and play Whoopi's original comments on The View that led to this suspension just announced. Okay. Oh, hang on.
I feel being black, when we talk about race, it's a very different thing to me. Mm-hmm. So I said that I felt that the Holocaust wasn't about race. And people got very, very, very angry and still are angry. I mean, I'm getting, you know, all of the mail from folks and the very real anger because people feel very differently. But I thought it was a salient discussion because as a black person, I think of race as being something that I can see. So I see you and I know what race you are. Then let's be truthful about it because the Holocaust isn't about race. No. No. It's not about race.
It is.
Well, they
No,
consider
it's
Jews
about
a different race.
But it's not about race. It's not about race.
What is it about?
Because it's about man's inhumanity to man. That's what it's about.
But it's about white supremacy. It's
Well,
about
but
going
it's not-
after
it's
Jews
not about
and
race.
gypsies and
But these are two
Romas.
white groups of people.
Well,
How
that
do
was
we
after black
They didn't
people,
see
too.
them as white
And they
men.
were
But you're
after
missing the
homosexuals.
point. You're
Yeah.
missing the point.
Yeah.
The minute you turn it into race, it goes down this alley.
You know, Joe, as I watched first her, I thought it was very inarticulate, the appearance on Colbert. It was a sloppy attempt at cleaning it up. But her original comments, there's no bigger supporter and my entire career of Israel than I have been. And virulent anti-Semitism, we better pay attention to it because it's real and it's all around the entire world at this point. It's a real danger to the state of Israel, our closest ally in the Middle East. And she recognized the evil, but did she not know the history, or did she just negate the history? She recognized evil, man's inhumanity to man. 6 million Jews were slaughtered, millions others slaughtered. I wrote a book about evil. I wrote directly about the evils of the Holocaust and how Jews were exterminated in Nazi Germany. What are your thoughts? We have a minute.
Sure, and it's not like they were exterminated immediately. They were worked to the bone to the point where when they were no longer productive in terms of working at those Holocaust camps, if you've actually read about it, then they were exterminated. I mean, that's how horrible it was. So Whoopi Goldberg's, I guess, study of the Holocaust must have been seeing Schindler's List 30 years ago. But here's an idea for people on TV in general. Stop making comparisons to the Holocaust. Stop comparing modern politicians like Donald Trump to Hitler because you know nothing about how horrible it was. And when you make those comparisons, it's an insult to every single surviving family member that knows somebody who was lost in the Holocaust and all those Jews, 6 million that were killed. That's all I got to say.
You know what? In the last century, we lost 100 million human souls. Mao, China, Stalin, Russia, Hitler, fascism, you name it. It's a lot of evil. And Whoopi's out for 2 weeks. More.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.